All right, everybody, welcome to JMK's first podcast ever. We're very excited to be bringing you guys this podcast. We literally just painted this wall and set up this space for podcasting. Basically, there's just a lot of things to talk about in Freeskates. A lot of us have a bunch of stories to tell, and we want to get them from our faces to your faces.
Yeah, so I think our first topic for this podcast is going to be going through the three of us, me, Jeff, and John, me being Gabe. Hello.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we will. And we're going to talk about how we all got into the wonderful sport of free skating. So to start off, I'm Gabe Altier.
I'm Jeff Milling.
John Gordon.
Should I just start off with...
Yeah, Gabe, you can go first.
So my story... I, a few years back, started my first year at Iowa State University, and, had no idea what free skates were. One day I'm walking on campus, and I see a guy, just zoom past me I had no idea what he was riding on. Turned out to be free skates, obviously, but I was like, I could never do that. It looked kind of cool, but it's whatever. I didn't think twice. But then I saw him again.
See, that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people
do.
They see them, they'll see us or other, free skaters, and they'll just not think twice. They'll be like, could never do that, right?
Right, yeah. So I was just one of those people. So looking back on that, that kind of sucks because, I wish maybe I was a little more excited. But the second time I saw it, I, saw that as an opportunity to, whoa, what are these things? So,
You chased him.
Well, that's when my interest peaked.
Who was
again.
it? Who'd you
so
see?
I was like,
Who did you see?
JC?
Yeah, his name is JC. I'll get into that in a little bit. So I had no idea who this guy was, but I was like, okay, I need to learn more about these things. I didn't really know where to look. One day in physics class, this random guy, he actually turned out to be my lab partner, turns to me and says, this isn't JC, this is someone else. Turns to me and says, hey, want to come back to my room and see my skates? And I was like, whoa, that's a little intense. I don't know, that was super random, but I was like, he didn't say what kind of skates. I was like, sure, this guy's got something cool. And they were free skates. They weren't these skates. They were
Free skates.
They were
you
just
said, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't JMK skates, but they were some knockoff brand. But I was like, I've seen a guy on campus. He was like, yeah, that's JC. I taught him. So.
He taught him.
Yeah, he taught JC. So this guy's
Padawan.
Eric Thorne, who we eventually, titled as, the first person at ISU to even own a pair.
Bless up, Eric.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks to Eric for, me and JC would not have found out about these skates if it weren't for Eric. Ended up meeting up with both of them. They both gave me some tips on how to ride them. I very quickly, got super excited about the skates, picked them up, and then the three of us became really good friends.
Can you say, because you haven't longboarded or skateboarded before, what was it about free skating that actually made you want to
Especially having
skating?
no background in any other wheeled sport.
I had scooted around on my roommate's longboard or whatever, and
okay.
I didn't no experience. I would get on it and be like, no, this isn't a good form of transportation because it just wasn't good at it. I wasn't interested. The free skates, when I saw JC for the first time, to me, I don't know how I thought this, thinking back to it now, but I thought there was a plate under each foot, which is the case, but then I thought it was just a ball under each plate.
A single wheel.
And that didn't make any sense to me. But then when Eric showed up to me, I was like, this is how they work. I guess it was just
It's fascination.
the fascination with I haven't seen this before, and nobody just comes across this kind of thing. Eric asked me to come to his dorm randomly, and once that happened, I was like, okay, I gotta at least try these things out. So he took me outside the dorm, and I had my inaugural first test run, which sucked, as everybody's does. I could not ride them, but I was determined.
Yeah.
And you need determination to learn these. So he actually let me borrow it for the next week. Nice. I think I took them back to my hometown even. He let me borrow
See,
his
that's-
like first pair to learn on and stuff and get the hang of it. And then
We appreciate that, you know?
yeah.
Like, as a free skater out there in the world, like, I'm sure a million people are like, what are those, you know? And to be able to go the next step like Eric did and lend someone his free skates to try out, it's like,
For sure.
we appreciate that kind of person, right?
Yeah. And
Share your passions, you know?
yeah. And then, well, so at that point, I was like, I want my own pair. And I honestly, I didn't even know the JMK pair existed. So, like, you know, many others at the school, I went onto Amazon and went on the first thing I saw and bought the cheap set of Freeskates.
Oh.
And come to realize that, you know, there's a
Awesome
reason those
Amazons.
things are cheap.
Yeah.
You
You pay.
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
But you know,
Pay what you get for.
they, you know, they worked for the time being. I learned on them, and then, you know, I'm good friends with JC at this point. So I met up with him like before class started one day, and he was like, "Dude, check this out!" Like he had his laptop open. I found these skates from this like new company. Like these look sick. Check them out. And they were the JMKs. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, is he actually gonna get those? Like they're $120, whatever. He ends up buying them. We opened together on the steps of the library, and I just remember us, like the smiles on our faces, like we were so excited to open this because we didn't really know what to expect. And then just the assembly process and everything, like we were smiling like little kids, like it was insane.
Was
that
this
my
one of the
first-
videos that you made?
No,
No. Okay.
no, this was
Okay.
before I even considered making videos about the free
But
skating.
you did make videos.
Yeah,
Or
so
videos.
I should get into that just
Yeah,
briefly.
keep going. You unboxed a pair with JC.
It was like
yeah,
kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, it was like a kid in a candy shop. We were like, "This is sick," and couldn't believe how smooth the things were.
I feel like the smoothness, if you're riding Amazon pairs, they have square wheels, and the smoothness, it mostly comes from the round wheels.
Yeah, the round wheels and then the bearings.
So people are like, wow, these feel like super fluid. The rounded wheels, then the bearings make it lower friction, so it's like you feel faster. It's like basically a superpower.
Yeah, for sure. So about the video thing, going into this year, I had started a YouTube channel about tech reviews, like reviewing smartphones and such. Nothing to do with this skating, but that was my thing. I've always been interested in that. And then once the skating came around, and then I got super into it, something just came over me. Like I wanted to do more with the skating. I wanted to show it to more people. Like, how could I do that? Obviously through the YouTube channel that I had already built up. And to be honest, I wasn't
Awesome.
having the most fun with the tech videos at the time anyway. So I was like, why not kind of integrate this into my content and see if it's something I want to add or something. And, you know, it turns out I just completely replaced the whole channel with free skating content. So after I made that decision, this is all I made. I made content about these skates, and I think that's how you guys found me initially. Or I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, John.
Yeah, through YouTube. One day I was just searching videos and I saw a couple an unboxing tutorial, and then I saw a couple just videos of you guys skating at ISU.
Yeah, well, we knew about ISU, right?
Yeah, because we at one point had a conference call with them about collaborating with ISU, and they were starting to build their free skate community, and we were like, yeah, man, that's awesome, because how we met Jeff was through Harvey Mudd College, and they have a skate crew there, and we're like, yeah, if we can expand and go to ISU, which Gabe inspired maroon ISU colors right there. That's where it came from.
Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did the Cardinal not exist before that?
No, it did not exist before that. My high school, Maddie's high school, we're same cardinal color, but so tying that in with you guys, we're like, hey, let's represent it right there, and that was a way that we could help collaborate with ISU and kind of get things going there, the relationship going. So Yeah, it was just
cool.
it was kind of a cool thing right there, and we ended up Jeff and I had a conference call with a lot of the key members of the ISU Club, and I think ISU had some things they needed to work out prior to moving forward with that, but it was a great start to it, and
now they're on the right track now. They have their own indoor space apparently.
Yeah,
he posted
cool
on USA Freeskating.
Yeah, that's
cool.
that's the thing I was going to get into after the whole unboxing the skates with JC. The whole point of that is me, Eric, and JC came together and started the ISU Freeskate Club, or whatever the name was at the time. It's changed a few times, but the three of us got the freshmen and sophomores that were on campus that had just found out about the skates, super stoked on them. We all banded together, started this club that met every week and skated together.
ISU Freeskate. At ISU_Freeskate.
ISU_Freeskate is the Instagram. They just started posting on there again.
Yeah.
But, it's of varying activity, I like to say, over the weeks, especially during the cold season in Iowa specifically. It was hard to get people to come out. But,
it's always hard to get people to come out. I mean, speaking from another school club, it's you just have to have the consistency and have the patience. And
you got to have the people that are dedicated, and a lot of times the people that aren't so dedicated end up getting weeded out, I guess. Not by others, but just they either give up or they just, they have something else on their mind. For me specifically, it's all I wanted to do. So, as one of the people who helped start the club, I think that's important. And I think that was true about me, JC, and Eric, because we were all very excited on the skates, which was a good thing to have.
What year are JC and Eric in now?
They're both in my year, I believe.
So Eric, seniors.
Yeah, Eric and JC, seniors at ISU.
Congrats to JC and Eric. Hopefully, they set up a good legacy. Get some freshmen, some sophomores in your club so that it doesn't die.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, let's see, Davin is the next person that kind of came up and took ownership. He is a year younger than. Wait, oh shoot.
You don't even know you've been away so long.
See, I hang out with it. I used to skate with it. I used to skate with Davin so much. So it seems like all my friends are the same age. I think he's 2 years younger. Yes, 2 years younger.
Nice.
It was my junior year. There was this freshman that was just super, super, super stoked on the skates. I think JC was telling me about him, and it was Davin. He was at the skate park basically every day practicing, park tricks at the beginning, and picking them up faster than any of us did. So anyways, he came up pretty quickly, and I think, is he treasurer or VP, or he's a big role in the club right now, and a big role in getting the skaters together and involved in the club. So they're doing pretty well right now.
Awesome. That's that.
So we talked a little bit about Harvey Mudd. You want to talk about how you got into the sport, Jeff?
Yeah.
How you discovered them?
Yeah, I discovered them. So I went and visited all the colleges that I wanted to potentially go to, and Harvey Mudd was one of them. And at Harvey Mudd, it's like a small school and a bunch of nerds, so they were all excited about freeskating for a while. And actually, during the days of Freeline, which was the original, the inventor of free skates, or I guess he called them side skates or whatever, but yeah, Freeline Sports Inc., right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And anyway, they came and visited Harvey Mudd because there were so many free skaters at the time. And so, it was a big thing at Mudd. There were two factions. There were the free skaters and the unicyclists. So you can kind of get a feel of what kind of quirky skate types there were. But basically, the first time I saw them, I was like, whoa, it looks like these people are standing on I thought they were building robots and bringing the parts around, because I only saw someone holding them, and then I saw someone ride past. I was just mind blown. I think I YouTubed about it, and I actually wrote my admittance essay, like why Harvey Mudd, on Freeskates, and they still let me in, even though it's not related to academics at all. So yeah,
a lot of engineering involved.
Yeah, I guess there's so much physics involved. Yeah. And then so they accepted me, and I was really excited. So I went to admitted students weekend, and then me and Mike, my friend, who we were both for the first year so diehard Freeskates. We were so excited about them. On admitted students weekend, it was a tradition for the skate club to go and try and teach all the admitted students how to freeskate. And we went to this big open area and had a million, at the time, free lines out on the sidewalk. And I actually don't think I picked it up that day. But when I started at Mudd, it was like we were obsessed with them. And I asked one of the seniors, I was like, you don't really ride these much, do you? And was like, can I borrow them? So I just borrowed some until we did the bulk buy, which is another Mudd tradition, which is just a bulk buy Freeskates. And that year was one of the last years we did Freeline bulk buy, and then I set up the JMK bulk buy as we went on.
Slight transition of companies due to certain factors.
Yeah. Right. But at least there's still companies to buy Freeskates from. But basically to paint the picture of what I was involved with at Harvey Mudd, it was amazing. There was I think about a third of the class, each class could free skate and would just ride them to school, ride them to class and then ride them back, and that was kind of what everyone did. And then when I joined, I was so excited about free skating that I was asking around, and apparently I was 1 year later than Guillermo. So Guillermo was he's a really good free skater, and he actually rode on some of the events with Freeline, and the legend was that he could pump uphill one-footed. Which is you have your back foot and you swing your front foot.
Matty Tice style.
Yeah. I eventually got it down. I got it down before I graduated, so I was like, yes, I got to Guillermo's level. So he was my big inspiration, and I just kept skating out front. Everyone knew me as the guy who was obsessed with free skates. And I, kept this skate club up, and I did things where I went to our, I was telling the guys who were running ISU's club, it's go to your student government at the beginning of the year and ask for funds to put towards this purchase, because it's, gonna help with wellness of the students and things like that. Otherwise they'll spend the budget on other things. And that's kind of what I did so that I could facilitate this bulk buy and save our students money on buying skates. And and then let's see, the events, basically admitted students weekend was our big event, because people would come check out Mudd, and then we'd be check it out, free skates. This is a big part of Mudd's culture. And so that was really exciting. I think that's mainly. And then after Mudd,
how'd you get involved with JMK?
How did I get involved with JMK? Okay.
How did that relationship start?
Well, I was obsessed with all of the free skating tricks and stuff, and so I'm following all the guys who do really cool tricks. And then all of a sudden, everyone's posting about JMKRIDE, and at first I was I think this is only in Japan, a thing in Japan. I saw I was following a lot of Japanese riders. Isamu was my idol. June was my idol at the time. Yeah, I mean, still is. And and then JMKRIDE, it was the only company at the time, after Freeline fell out of the picture, was the only company supporting these people, supporting the community of free skates. So that's where I started seeing JMKRIDE pop up. And then somehow I learned that they were in San Diego. I was really excited because the first summer that I discovered JMKRIDE, I was interning in San Diego. And so I was like, I gotta get down there and see these guys. And I remember going down there and you guys hooked me up with a pair, and I actually think I brought like 2 pairs back for my friends. I remember because they ordered them just like through text. It was cool to meet you guys and skate, and like it felt like the sport was alive again, because I remember like when I was
some dark days.
Yeah, well,
dark days.
we didn't know what was going on. They were like, is freeline dead? It was like, is free skating dead? Is the whole sport ending? And that was something that was like honestly really sad for me, because that was like a big part of my life at that time. So it was really exciting to meet the JMK guys, really exciting to see that this sport wasn't dead yet, and that they were continuing it, and that we're continuing it now.
I think I discovered the sport at a very awkward time, because I think JMK started around 2015, if I remember correctly, and my freshman year, that had to be around 2017, which is I think when JMK was still building themselves up as a company and stuff, and getting out there. And some people are still calling it, they still call it freeline, but especially then, the term freeline was being bounced around, and the company was being talked about still, and it was like, who owns this sport? Who's what skates do I buy? Like there was a whole lot to figure out for me as a newcomer in the free skating sport, so it was a little confusing to me. And then obviously it was cleared up and stuff, but I feel like by now,
I think it's hopefully by now it's a little bit better, but there's definitely still some confusion.
And that'll
but that's just how it
time.
goes. You can't name a sport after a company, otherwise this is what happens.
Right.
I feel like that's basically so. And then how I ended up here, because you went all the way to like how you ended up here. That's another story. So Mud, my education was in computer science. I was a big computer nerd, and I still am. But it's not like my main life's passion, So I graduated Mud, I got a killer job at Facebook. So I went up to the Bay Area and started that job, and met a bunch of really cool skaters there. Actually, I really love San Francisco's skate community, the rollerblade and roller skate community. I would do up there, and I still do whenever I'm up there. Friday Night Skate, which is this really cool, really good vibes, 12-mile skate around the city on Friday nights. And on Sunday skate, there's just a free roller rink out in the middle of a park, music, and also good vibes. And then I was just up there and then working this Facebook job and seeing, the guys in JMK still working down here, and with Gabe, sort of the rumor was like you were sort of being tried out when we went to China. And you were going to join.
I don't know if I mentioned that.
Not that far. I don't think you went
that far.
That far.
But that was kind of the catalyst, because it was like we were all thinking, like we were all like, let's do it, and we're still like that. We're like, it's about time.
That was when the pieces started to come together, and we were forming a team.
John,
it wasn't segmented places anymore. We were actually starting to bring it together.
John, do you want to finish the story of like, okay, so you saw my videos. What were the steps to China and to San Diego for me, in your mind?
In my mind, we were at a place where we were growing. We had done the Braille video and had a really good time doing that. And we went back to Braille again at the end of that year, I believe 2018. And so we were picking up momentum. A lot more people were learning about free skates. They were learning about JMK. And I was just watching videos on YouTube, seeing what was out there, seeing...
I feel like you can't not mention the Braille video. That probably showed you a little bit of the potential, and all of us, the potential of the free skate community, and like how grounding it is.
That definitely, obviously, that was the biggest light under the free skate movement that we've ever seen. I mean, whether it's in the past with Freeline or with the sport of free skates in general, that the Braille video literally could this moment have 11 million views, and that was just a monumental thing for us as a sport, because Braille has an amazing following. They have great followers of their channel, and it just opened us to a completely different market and gave us eyes that we might not have had we not gone and filmed with them. And they were amazing. They did great. They tried the skates. They literally enjoyed the skates so much that they made 2 separate videos for their own channel with our skates. Just because they were so intrigued by the skates,
like unpaid.
We did. We had no involvement whatsoever in those videos, and they just liked them so much that they made the videos with them, and that was really cool. And it was groundbreaking for us, because it gave us an avenue for other people to see the sport of free skating. And I know that there's a ton of people out there who found us through Braille, and we can't thank them enough, and we can't thank all of the people who bought the skates from seeing the Braille videos, because it brought a bunch of people to the sport that we love and helped introduce that sport that we do love, and the passion that we have for it. And that takes us back to kind of how JMK got started, because the 4 of us who formed JMK, we had worked for the previous company that invented free skates called Freeline, and we all worked for them in different capacities.
So we're doing your story now.
I guess we developed into that, didn't we?
Yeah. All right. So,
I guess so.
Isn't that how organic things work?
It's very organic.
It just kind of tied into it. So I won't start at the beginning, but I'll head back to the beginning. But the way the 4 of us came together was myself and Maddie. We worked for Freeline USA. He was a pro rider. I was social media director. And then Kiyoki was a Japanese distributor. And Marco worked for the Chinese distributor at that time. It's a tough word to say, isn't it, right now?
Distributor?
Distributor.
Distributor.
So the four of us, we had been really good friends from the Freeline days. Kiyoki and Marco both had come to the United States to hang out and skate, and Matt had actually been to Japan and China in those times. And we developed great relationships with them. So close that once Freeline went out of business and was no longer a company, that we were like, hey, I don't want to be done. This cannot be the end of my story with these skates. Like, there has to be more to it. Like, this, I love this. Like, we met so many great people, not only through the US, but in Asia, in Europe, South America, like Canada. We have so many friends that we are still communicating with through social media, and I don't want that to end. Like, these are great people. I love it. And to this day, we still get to go to China and Japan, and we still get to hang out with those people.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And
so that's very people first. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like some people, like, you'll hear 2 stories, or like maybe a mixture of both, where it's like some people are like, we couldn't let the sport die, like free skating in general, the sport. But from your perspective, it's the people. It's the community of free skating. It's always been such a amazing, such a strong community.
It has, and I literally like. I love these people. I love these people. I love this sport. And the sport and the skates brought us all together. And the thought of losing that, it wasn't acceptable. Yeah. So we kind of took things into our own hands. And we had for the longest time had things that we wanted to bring to the free skate community. Design, colors, everything that you see in JMK. Like we had these ideas and we really wanted to develop them into the community. And at that time we didn't have the avenue, and now we do. And we're so happy that we can put our imprint on this product.
So I feel like we didn't actually get because Gabe and I shared how we actually discovered freeskating.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, we didn't get that story. Oh,
bye. It's empty.
We didn't get the story of how John Gordon discovered freeskating in general.
So I was a wee young kid. Not really. I was old, but
I was gonna say.
I was.
Wow, really?
Back then, when I found out what free skating was, I was still much older than Gabe is now. So.
Right, that's weird.
Yeah, this was, I'd have to say, back 2006, maybe 2007. I was at a family bonfire down at the beach, and Matt, if you all don't know my story with Matty
Tice.
Matty Tice. I'm essentially like his big brother. I'm 6 years older than him. We grew up on the same street. He lived across the street from me. We grew up. I kind of took him under my wing, and we played sports together, baseball, and so he comes to me at the bay, and he shows up with my family, and he has these things in his hands, and I'm like, what in the world is that? And he's like, yeah, check these out.
Were they Freelines?
Yeah, they were Freeline. This was Freeline OG, like the original
Grom.
Prototypes that Ryan came out with, and no Groms, no Pros, nothing had ever even been thought about. This was like Ryan was selling them out of the back of his car.
Yeah.
And Matt happened to see him on the boardwalk and was like, okay, I'll buy a pair. So
nice.
Me being his older brother, and he brings them over to me, and he's like, yeah, check these out. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You don't have money to spend on those. and I'm like, I don't care what they are and what they look like. What are you doing? And then, fast forward, even a couple of weeks, and he's taken these things, and they were originally invented for downhill, and then now they're riding them on the boardwalk. And then Matt gets them, and he's starting to do these crazy tricks with them, 1-footers, and throwing them behind his back, and like just insane. So I was like, wow, like these are legit. Like these are really cool. And not having tried them myself too much yet, I was like, okay, you know what? I'd love to get this on film. Like, these have to be seen. Like,
I love that. Your first instinct is like, I want to get it on film.
Yeah.
A lot of us are like, I gotta ride
them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was a little even older at that time, so I was just like, hey, you know what? Like, let's let the kids ride. And so he was riding them, and I would film him. And the thing for me in my personal riding journey, I surfed, I skated, I snowboarded, and for some reason, I had the toughest time learning these things. I don't know what it was about them. I would borrow Matt's skates, and I would take them out behind my house, and I would try and ride them. At the time, Freeline had weekly skate sessions at Crown Point here in PB, and I'd go to those, and I'd pick them up, and man, I became addicted. And I had a friend, the biggest motivating factor for me was I had a friend who wasn't very athletic, and he could ride them.
That is like, always the motivation.
It is.
Because like I was saying with my stories, like me and Mike, we actually just were like kind of competitive between each other. It was like, oh, dude.
That's the best.
That's
the best.
I can pump all the way up this hill. And then I was like, dang, okay. So then I would work really hard and surpass him. And that's like the way to do it.
Yeah. And so my thing was, I'm watching these guys all ride, and it's all the top pros at the time, Matt, Ryan, and a bunch of other guys, and I'm like, we're learning on this hill like this, so I'm riding down, I'm stepping off, and I'm walking them back up. Well, these guys are riding down, and then they're riding back up the hill, and I'm like, wait a second, you can ride those things uphill too?
Yeah.
I gotta learn this. And so I just took it upon myself to learn, and never became the pro that these guys are, but it was just super motivating, and I found my love behind the camera. I found my love. I loved going to the skate park. I loved filming. I loved...
And you edited too.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your work too.
Yeah. You guys
trash cans catching on fire.
You guys can all look back if you ever need a research project for school. You can see
Freeline
SD and even the old school Freeline videos and see our work back then. But it's really cool to see what we created back then and what it's developed into now with a lot of the riders in Japan and China, and it's just insane. But I'm so happy to be a part, and I'm so happy that we were able to keep the sport alive, essentially, because there was a couple years there where we thought it was gone, and I'm so thankful to the guys that helped create JMK with us and keeping it alive, because we were really close to just being gone forever.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is a new concept to it. Like the previous one was like, this is a new product, like we're gonna patent it, we're gonna sell it, all that stuff. Like, we're just starting with the community. We're starting like to keep the sport alive organically, in my opinion. So origin stories of everyone, I guess.
Yeah, except for Matt.
For
Matty Tice.
Yeah, we'll have to get his on podcast number 2.
Yeah,
podcast number 2.
The OG 3. Of the OGs.
Yeah. We definitely need his input on here, not only, for that initial episode, but in the future, get all 4 of us on here.
Yeah, for the entire JMK USA.
Yeah, as well as any other special guests. Like, we're definitely gonna, have other
Special
people
guests.
hop on.
Call-ins.
Yeah, with people, overseas, or, we may have people, coming in for overseas in person. In that case, we can have them on as well.
So freeskating is beautiful. The story is beautiful because of all of the stories, like the community. There's just a million stories to be told, and that's like the idea behind the podcast. We want to share.
Yeah, and we also want it to be, guided by you all. We, what do you want to hear about? Whether it's history, whether it's product, whether it's tricks, the future, anything you guys want, let us know. We'll talk about it. We'll let you know all the insider details, anything you need.
Yeah, we're here for you guys. Like, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys buying our skates, posting about us, supporting JMKRIDE, supporting the sport of freeskating. So basically that. Thank you for watching and listening. Hopefully our number 1 podcast, our first podcast, turned out all right.
Hopefully this came together pretty all right. I think we're right at about 45 minutes or so.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and
subscribe.
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, subscribe. Follow.
Yeah, please do. Let us know.
Bye.
All right, bye.